Ever thought about what makes some land, like really good for farming,
Yeah,
and then other spots just kind of struggle?
it's a really good question.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Today we're doing a deep dive on exactly that.
Land optimization, huh?
Yeah. Getting the most out of, every acre.
Uncovering those secrets, right?
Exactly.
It's a place where science and tech and just good old farming know-how.
Come together.
Yeah, they all blend.
To help us through this, we're looking at Farmonaut today.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them. They're doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. They're using all this high-tech stuff to help farmers make better decisions about their land.
Like those data-driven advisors.
Yeah, they're using satellite pictures and AI and even blockchain.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, to give, insights and guidance
Really pushing the boundaries.
of what's possible.
Yeah, and precision agriculture.
So let's jump right in to land utilization in agriculture.
Okay, sure.
It's a pretty big deal,
Mm.
especially when you think about it. 38% of the Earth's land is for agriculture. That's over a third of the whole planet.
That's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
It really makes you realize how important it is to use that land well, right?
Yeah.
Efficiently, sustainably.
Not just about yields.
Right, exactly. It's food security,
Yeah.
environment, the whole planet's health.
It's all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Like no matter where you live,
Right.
how we farm affects everyone.
Exactly.
Which is why I find what Farmonaut is doing so interesting, using all that satellite data to look at huge areas, helping farmers make better decisions.
So how do they help farmers really understand their land?
Well, one of the big things they do is help farmers figure out how to categorize their land.
Like what it's best suited for?
Exactly. Is it for crops, livestock, maybe forestry,
Matching the land to the use?
Right, like choosing the right tool for the job.
Makes sense.
And Farmonaut uses all their imagery and AI to do just that.
Yeah.
Analyzing the soil, the topography, all those factors, figuring out how to best use each piece.
It's not just what's under the ground, though, right?
No, you're right.
What's on top of it matters, too, right?
Totally, yeah, that's land cover types, like literally what's covering the ground.
Like the grass, the trees.
Yeah, bare soil, all of it.
Does that really matter that much?
Oh, huge impact.
Right.
On everything. Water, biodiversity, the whole ecosystem.
Okay, like what? Give me an example.
Let's say you have a field with no plants, just dirt.
Okay,
That soil can wash away, especially when it rains a lot.
making sense.
And where does all that soil go?
Into the rivers and stuff.
Exactly. Pollutes the water, hurts the fish.
Bad for the land in the long run, too, right?
You got it. Now imagine a field with healthy grass or other plants.
Okay.
Those plants hold the soil.
Ah, like a natural barrier.
Yeah, they help water soak in better
Interesting.
and give a home to good insects and animals.
Wow, so the land cover really matters.
It's all connected.
So how do farmers know all this about their land cover?
Well, Farmonaut's tech comes in again. They use their satellite pictures and machine learning.
Like a high-tech eye in the sky.
That's a good way to put it. It can tell you exactly what's happening, even if you can't see it yourself.
And that helps them decide how to manage the land.
Planting, grazing, protecting it, all of it.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit
Sure.
and talk about land grade maps. What are those?
So it's basically a way to grade the land, like how good is it for farming?
Like a report card for your land.
Yeah, exactly. It takes into account the soil, climate, topography, all that stuff.
So, like a high-grade piece of land would have.
Fertile soil, good water, nice climate, perfect for growing lots of different crops.
And a lower grade.
Might have some problems, bad greenage, rocky soil, things like that.
So maybe better for grazing or trees.
Right.
And I'm guessing Farmonaut has this info too, right?
Oh, yeah, they put it right on their platform so farmers can see it all at once.
That's really useful.
It really is. No more guessing, you
Good.
know? They can focus on the areas with the most potential.
How do they figure out those grades, though?
It's a lot of data. They look at the soil texture, how well it drains, the pH, how acidic or alkaline it is.
Makes sense.
They look at the slope of the land, the elevation, how water flows, all of it.
It's like a whole bunch of things come together
Yeah, it's holistic.
to determine that grade.
And Farmonaut, they can process all that data and make it easy to understand,
So they can use it.
Exactly.
It's kind of like playing to your strengths,
I like that.
Like this land is good for wheat, let's grow wheat.
You got it. understand your land, and work with it.
Okay, so we talked about categories and cover types,
Right.
but what about land suitability assessment?
Ah, yeah, that's the next level. We take all that info, the soil, climate, even the social and economic stuff.
And then we decide, what is this land best for?
Exactly. What can it really excel at?
It's not just about the most crops.
Now we're talking sustainability. Is it going to make money?
Yeah, right.
Like a piece of land could technically grow something, but what if the weather's crazy there?
Or nobody wants to buy it.
Right. It's got to be a good choice all around.
So suitability helps balance the potential with the reality.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just what to plant,
Like what?
how to irrigate, when to fertilize, how to deal with pests, all of it.
And Farmonaut's tech helps with this too.
Oh, yeah, they have all these fancy algorithms.
Logarithms.
Yeah, they take all the data, the pictures, the weather, the soil, even what's selling well,
And then what?
and they make these reports,
Reports for what?
or the farmers,
What kind of reports?
telling them what to grow, taking everything into account.
Like having your own team of experts, but all digital.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
This is important, right?
Yeah,
Especially with the world population growing and the climate changing.
huge. We got to get smarter about how we use our land.
And Farmonaut is helping make that happen.
For sure.
Okay, so we keep talking about highly productive land.
Right.
What does that even mean?
Well, it's not just about tons of crops, although that's part of it.
Okay.
It's got to be able to grow really good crops consistently
I-
with minimal inputs, and without hurting the environment.
So it's got to be efficient,
Yeah.
sustainable,
Uh-huh.
and high quality.
Exactly, not just quantity.
Like 2 pieces of land, same size.
Yep.
One is amazing, tons of crops, hardly any water or fertilizer.
Right.
The other one struggles, needs a lot of help.
That's a good way to think about it.
So what makes land so good naturally?
Well, good soil is key.
Yeah.
Rich in organic matter,
Yeah.
nutrients, that's the foundation.
Got to have good water too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's rain or irrigation, plants need water.
Makes sense.
And the climate matters a lot, too.
Like temperature and rain?
All that, the right amount of sun, humidity, it all plays a role.
Sounds delicate.
It is, but we're not totally at the mercy of Mother Nature. There are things we can do.
Like what?
Well, crop rotation is a big one, changing what you grow in a field each year.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Doesn't that help with pests and soil?
It does. Different crops need different nutrients and attract different bugs and diseases.
Right.
So by rotating, you keep things balanced, the soil stays healthy.
Working with nature, not against it.
Exactly. And then there's all the new precision agriculture techniques,
What is that?
using technology to get very specific data about the land and then farming accordingly.
So not just treating the whole field the same.
Right. You might use sensors to see how much water the soil has.
Okay.
And then water only the parts that need it.
Makes sense.
Or use different amounts of fertilizer depending on what the soil needs.
So it's all very customized.
Yeah, data-driven and customized.
And Farmonaut fits in here too.
Oh, they're a big part of it. They give farmers the tools to make it all happen.
All this is great information, but why should someone who's not a farmer even care about this?
That's a good question, and it comes down to this. How we farm affects everyone. It affects how much food we have, how much it costs, the environment, even the global economy.
Those are some big things.
Yeah, they are. And as more people are on the planet, we need more food.
But we can't just keep using more land
Right, we got to optimize what we have.
to feed everyone.
And that helps the environment, too.
How so?
Well, if we farm smarter, we don't have to cut down as many forests.
So we're saving habitats and animals.
Exactly. And we use less water, less fertilizer, less of everything that can harm the planet.
So it's good for the planet and for food.
It's a win-win.
We've covered so much today.
I know, right?
From the basic land stuff to all this high-tech precision agriculture,
It's changing fast.
and Farmonaut is leading the way.
They really are. It's exciting to see it all happening. It really makes you think, with all this tech, what's next for food? Can we feed everyone A&D, help the planet?
It does feel like things are changing, like a revolution in agriculture is starting.
I think you're right, and it's all about the data. Farmers have so much info now.
Speaking of data, we talked about Farmonaut using those satellite pictures. How does that compare to other tech, like drones and sensors and stuff?
Ah, good question. Each one has its own, pluses and minuses.
Okay.
Drones are awesome for really close-up views.
Like if you want to see a specific spot in your field.
Exactly. They can see things you'd miss from a satellite, bugs, diseases, even if a plant needs more nutrients.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is, but they can't cover that much ground, and weather can be a problem.
Like if it's windy or raining.
Right, you can't fly them then.
So drones are good for some things, but not everything.
Yeah, now those sensors, they're different.
Okay.
You put them out in the field, and they're always collecting data.
So it's constant, not just a picture from one day.
Exactly. They can track the soil, moisture, temperature, all sorts of stuff.
So you can adjust things as you go.
Right, like watering or fertilizing, really fine-tune everything.
But they're expensive, right?
They can be, yeah, and they might not be the best for huge farms.
So each tech has its own strengths.
Yeah, drones for details, sensors for real time, satellites for the big picture.
And Farmonaut chose satellites, probably because they want to help everyone, not just the big farms.
That makes sense. It's affordable, and it works for any size farm.
Plus, the satellites are only getting better, right?
Oh yeah, higher resolution, more frequent images, all sorts of new data analysis.
It's wild to think about, like, seeing individual plants from space or spotting problems before they even show up.
Yeah, the possibilities are amazing.
This is all about tech, but what about the farmers themselves?
Oh yeah, that's important.
Are they using this stuff?
More and more, yeah, they're seeing the potential.
Why? Just to make more money?
That's part of it, sure, but they also care about the environment.
Like what?
Using less water, less fertilizer, things like that.
So it's better for the planet.
Right. And they like having all that data to make better decisions.
Makes sense.
And the younger generation, they grew up with all this tech.
So they're more comfortable with it.
Exactly. And they care about sustainability, leaving things better than they found them.
That's good to hear, but not all farmers can afford this stuff, right?
That's true. There are barriers, cost, internet access, even just knowing how to use it all.
So we got to make sure everyone has a chance.
Absolutely. But tech isn't everything. You still need to know how to farm, to understand the land.
It's not a magic bullet.
Right. It's a tool, a powerful tool, but you need the human element too.
Sounds like we need everyone to work together. The tech people, the researchers, the farmers, everyone.
Absolutely. That's how we'll make a food system that works for everyone and the planet.
I like that Farmonaut seems to be focused on giving farmers tools, not replacing them.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
Farming is complicated,
Oh, it is. So many factors. You can't just automate everything.
so there's always going to be a need for farmers.
I think so. They have the knowledge, the experience, the connection to the land.
It's been so interesting.
I know. It's amazing to see how much is happening.
We talked about the good stuff, the potential of all this. But what about the downsides?
Yeah, good point. Every powerful tool has its risks.
Like what should we be careful about?
Well, data privacy is a big one. All this information being collected, we got to make sure it's protected.
So farmers need to be careful about what they share.
Yeah, read the fine print. Understand how their data is being used.
It's like being a smart shopper, but for tech.
Exactly. Find platforms that are secure, transparent, that respect the farmer's ownership of their data.
Are there things to look for, like specific features,
Yeah, encryption is important. That keeps the data scrambled so no one can steal it.
like a digital lock?
Yeah, and anonymization, that removes personal info so you can't be identified.
So you can still use the data, but it's protected.
Right, and look for certifications, audits, things that prove they take security seriously.
Do your research, basically.
Exactly, and it's not a one-time thing. You gotta keep your software up to date, use good passwords, all that.
All good advice. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
We also talked about those algorithms being biased. Can you explain that more? How do we make sure they're fair?
It's a big issue. These algorithms learn from data, and if the data is biased, the algorithm will be too.
Give me an example.
Sure, imagine an algorithm that predicts how much a farm will produce based on past data.
Okay.
But what if that data reflects discrimination? Like, some farmers couldn't get loans or good seeds.
So the algorithm might think they're just bad farmers.
Right, and it'll keep making unfair predictions.
That's good.
Or imagine an algorithm that tells you when to plant or water, but it's only trained on data from one type of climate.
So it wouldn't work for other places.
Exactly, so we need diverse data from all sorts of farms and climates.
And diverse people making these algorithms too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You need engineers, scientists, farmers, all working together to make it fair.
So diversity isn't just about being nice, it's about making tech that works for everyone.
Exactly, and we got to keep checking these algorithms, make sure they're not causing harm.
It's a process, not a one-time fix.
Right? Always improving, always learning.
This has been a really interesting discussion.
It really has.
We talked about the potential,
Yeah.
but also the things we need to be careful about.
It's a powerful tool, but we have to use it wisely.
And have these conversations, make sure everyone's voice is heard.
Absolutely. The future of food is up to all of us.
I like that. It makes me feel hopeful, but also like we got to be responsible.
It's both, for sure.
This has been really fascinating exploring all this precision agriculture and what Farmonaut is doing,
Yeah, it's been a great deep dive.
from the land itself to the tech, the data.
Those ethical questions, right? Privacy, bias,
Yeah, it's clear that tech is changing how we grow food in the big way.
and we got to be smart about it, excited, but also careful.
So for our listener, someone tuning in, hearing all this, what can they actually do?
That's a good question. Lots of ways to get involved, even if you're not a farmer.
Okay, where should they start?
Well, it starts with what you eat.
You mean like where it comes from?
Yeah, support local farms, choose sustainable options, don't waste food.
Those are things we can all do every day.
Exactly, those choices matter. But if you want to go deeper,
Yeah.
learn more, there's tons of info out there online, at the library.
So check out Farmonaut's website, read articles, follow those organizations.
Right, and get involved locally.
Locally.
Yeah, volunteer at a garden, take a class, even grow your own food, even a little bit.
So there's something for everyone.
I think so. We all got to eat, right? So we all have a part to play in making it better.
This whole deep dive, Farmonaut, precision agriculture, it's been eye-opening.
It's been great.
We talked about land, tech, the good stuff, the challenges.
And how it's all evolving so fast.
Yeah, it feels like we're at a turning point, and companies like Farmonaut are leading the way.
And the farmers, the people who are actually doing the work, they're a big part of this too.
So if you want to know more about Farmonaut, check out their website, their app.
And there's so much other info out there, so many groups working on this.
We've got to remember, the choices we make today, they matter for the future.
They really do.
Let's build a food system that's good for everyone and good for the planet.
That's the goal.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking questions.